Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're doing a pretty surprising follow-up video because I think it was like maybe February of last year. I made a video talking about how Roblox games have evolved to the point that some of them are legitimately better looking and better playing than some AAA titles that have been coming out over the last couple of years or so, you know? I mean, primarily I talked a lot about like first-person shooters because there was one game in particular that we took a look at the time. The game was called Frontlines, and of course that was all the way back in February of last year, and even then I was very thoroughly impressed by what we saw all the way back then. I mean, the gameplay that we saw at that point in time, like the game already obviously was rivaling what we would expect out of like a AAA title, right? You know, like when you see gameplay of this game, it's honestly, I feel like going to surprise a lot of people that this is how far Roblox has come. And that's the craziest part about this entire video. We're not talking about even like indie game developing studios using like Unity to develop a video game. We're talking about Roblox devs that are using a free-to-play, massively online multiplayer game to develop and flesh out these concepts and put them out basically for free for people to play. I don't think people realize just how much games like Roblox have actually transformed the gaming industry, because for a good portion of my childhood, man, there wasn't games like this around, you know? There wasn't a Roblox for somebody to log into, put some time into developing a video game, and then release it, and people from all around the world can play it for free. The idea of this being something that can just be reliably done is a relatively new concept. And with that relatively new concept, we've seen people actually design some pretty incredible products out of it. So today we're actually going to be looking at updated footage of the Frontlines Roblox game, and we're going to continue our conversation that we started all the way back in last year when we first talked about this game, because this game already looks insanely different. It looks insanely better, and it's getting to the point, man, where I think people at like Call of Duty / Activision and the people at Battlefield and whatnot, they might want to be on the lookout a little bit, because games like this, if they keep popping up, dude, shit's gonna get wicked for them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and roll the video. Alright, so now you guys have seen the gameplay, and I just want to say personally, man, when you look at this gameplay, right, like if I were to tell you, not tell you, I should say, that this is like a Roblox game, I feel like the graphics and the gameplay is so finely polished and looks so damn good, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell that this is a Roblox game right off the rip. Like if you were, I don't know, some casual gamer, you know, a guy who plays like a lot of Call of Duty or something like that, you would see gameplay like this and you'd be like, damn, this is the new Call of Duty? This is what we're playing next year? The graphics are very good, especially for a Roblox game. I feel like, you know, over all these years, especially back when I was a kid, man, like Roblox was this blocky-ass video game where pretty much everything was made out of blocks and stuff like that. It was like basically Minecraft / Legos, you know what I mean? There was like, there wasn't graphics like this, let's just say that. I haven't played Roblox considerably in a few years now, but I have to say, man, it's genuinely impressive how these developers and how these artists that are working on Roblox projects have phased away from like the blocky, bulky look of everything in the game and have found a way to create and design and share models in their game that are so damn good that, you know, when put together, they can rival AAA titles in graphics. I mean, like I said, you took an unsuspecting person, you sat them down and you were like, hey, this is the new Call of Duty coming out this year. You could probably trick a decent amount of people, man. You could probably get them to believe it. And no, this is a free-to-play Roblox game. Now, I don't think people really take the time to consider just what a product like Frontlines actually is, man. And honestly, I don't think people take the time to consider that projects like this very well could be a huge part of the future of gaming. Now, obviously, traditionally, right, we've thought about video games, and of course, you know, most of the major products that people are playing, you know, you got your Maddens, your Call of Duties, your FIFAs, your NBA 2Ks, your Grand Theft Autos, your Nintendo games, right? You know, you got the AAA titles. That's what people would primarily call it games like that. But of course, you've had your mix of indie games that, you know, push the boundaries of genres a little bit, and, you know, they help kind of develop the industry too from smaller teams, also producing great games. But now with something like Roblox, you know, you don't have to develop a game and go find a publisher and, you know, sign a bunch of contracts to get your game out there in the market and actually making money. If you have the knowledge or the money to invest in the knowledge of like basically building a video game from the ground up, you can just create a free account on Roblox and do it on there and release it to people all around the world for free for them to play. And that's been the huge appeal of a game like Frontlines. I mean, yeah, the graphics are great, the gameplay looks fantastic, you know, it already has a lot of draw, but the real draw to a game like Frontlines, at least to me, is the fact that this is a free-to-play video game. I mean, consider this, like, you're looking at the gameplay, right, and this is a pretty decent-looking product, you know? I mean, sure, it may not be the greatest first-person shooter of all time, but this is a great-looking free-to-play product, you know, for something that you do not have to pay to access, for something you can just load up on your PC or your Xbox or whatever straight through Roblox. You really can't beat something like that, man, and for people out there, especially people who don't have a lot of spare money to just be constantly investing into newer video games at the AAA level, you have games like this to help flesh things out. And this game has now gone viral on several different occasions on social media for the graphics, for the gameplay, for how good a project like this looks, man. So it's pretty clear to me, at least, that the people behind Frontlines are people who actually know what they're doing, you know what I mean? These aren't just, you know, a couple of people sitting in a bedroom just throwing something together. Like, these guys have a very great idea of game design, they have a great idea of the product they want to make, and according to their official Roblox page, which I just checked out, they're also taking a lot of fan feedback into account so that the players themselves can actually shape the future updates of the game, and basically things can be done as the community asks. Now, this is also huge because, I mean, like for me, Call of Duty, right? That's the main FPS I'm going to compare this to because that is the biggest FPS on the market. That is what the majority of FPS players are going to be playing. I mean, yeah, Call of Duty, it's got great graphics, you know, it's got iconic campaigns and things like that. But in a lot of the areas where people, especially multiplayer fans, have been absolutely complaining over the last, like, decade or so, you have a game like Frontlines that's overachieving expectations for a Roblox game and actually providing people a free-to-play option that looks somewhat enjoyable and fun. I mean, skill-based matchmaking, that's like a huge issue in Call of Duty now, right? People are mad because you can't really just play the game casually. You can't just take your time and enjoy it at your own pace. If you're really decent at the game, you have to basically try hard all the time because you're getting dropped in lobbies with nothing but tryhards. But in a game like Frontlines, I'm pretty sure like Roblox doesn't have skill-based matchmaking, or a game like Frontlines doesn't have that. And if it does have a system in place like that, it is a lot more reduced than what we would see on Call of Duty, making this game very casually appealing, you know, and the graphics, they're pretty decent. Like, those are up there. They're not just some thrown together stuff just kind of made for the sake of making it, man. Like, these guys actually put in the time and effort to make this game look good. I know that's like a huge draw for a lot of people, you know, graphics, that's probably realistically the biggest draw for most people, which is crazy because, like, you look at some games and like the gameplay is absolutely phenomenal and the graphics are trash. I still like to play games like that because the gameplay itself is actually fun, rewarding, and enjoyable. I'm usually not like that over graphics, but I mean, even if you are like that over graphics, even if like that's what's going to be your main draw here, there's something here for you. The game looks pretty decent. So I think it's time to start discussing, you know, the influence I feel like of Roblox in the gaming industry. You know, you got people like this who, you know, maybe they wouldn't cut it, I guess, at like a AAA studio. Maybe they're not qualified enough. They don't have a degree or something like that, right? Or the workload is just too much, whatever it may be, right? This kind of game is a result of that opportunity for people who are honestly extremely talented, right, to actually pursue their dreams. You know, in the 90s and in the 2000s, when you wanted to make a video game, it wasn't as cut and dry and easy as just loading up your computer and getting one done, at least if you wanted to commercially release it and make some money on it. And, you know, that is something that you can say about Frontlines. Like, I looked at it, it seems to be free to play and everything. I don't know if it has microtransactions or like a battle pass or loot boxes. I know a lot of Roblox games have implemented things like that, but these kinds of games can become legitimate cash cows on Roblox. There are actually developers on the platform who have developed games so successful and so popular with their fan bases. There's people making probably tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars just basically making video games for Roblox. You know, like, this is a legitimate industry, and I feel like people don't realize that. People don't value Roblox for what it is. Like, these are skilled people. These are people who can make money. These are people who are legitimately trying to get their entry in some occasions at least, into the gaming industry with their products, right? And it's honestly a very awesome thing to see, like to be alive and to be basically like watching the rise in that capability for a lot of people who, you know, are just programming video games out of their bedrooms. And the more easily accessible the video game industry becomes, and the more we see Roblox projects like this go viral, and people's incredible capabilities actually rise to the forefront of the gaming industry and go viral on social media, the more awesome products we're going to end up seeing over time. I mean, let's be honest, if you're like me, you're already fatigued with Call of Duty, right? It just came out a couple months ago, you're already fatigued with it. I barely play the damn game anymore. Battlefield 2042 was a complete flop. People have been saying, oh, it's been getting better over the last few updates. They kind of sunk the ship for me all the way back when the game came out. Halo Infinite, I mean, it's Halo Infinite, you know, they did what they did with that game, and I mean, rest in peace. But when it comes to like first-person shooters on the market that are like fun, enjoyable, multiplayer, you know, there's really not that many with that arcadey sense, with that arcadey feel that you can just get right into and play. And Frontlines is one of those games that's kind of bridging that gap, which I like, and they're doing it at a very great market point of just basically being free. So for me personally, I really hope going forward that Frontlines can continue to build momentum, they can continue to make the game better. It seems like they actually do value their player feedback, the player experience, and, you know, fine-tuning the game to make it enjoyable for players, which is also a huge plus. I mean, there's just too many developers these days, I feel like, that see the feedback from their audience, they see what people have to say, and they just don't really do enough or realistically even much at all to really address these concerns and to like bring these things into the limelight. So hopefully the developers behind Frontlines can keep that up. Hopefully they can kind of keep pushing forward with that. I really want to see what this game looks like again in a couple months. I think I'm actually going to log back into my old Roblox account and give it the opportunity. You know, I'm going to actually try and play this game. I didn't play it, you know, back when it was first coming out when I made the video talking about this like a year ago, and that was because it was still like in closed access or whatever. But it looks like now Frontlines is at least in a pretty playable state where people can hop on and play. So I think I'm going to jump on and try and play a little bit of it and see everything about it. But man, I am thoroughly impressed with how this game has kind of popped off in this time period since I've known about it all the way up until now. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about a Roblox game being better than Call of Duty, and signing out.